Oh, there you go. The Hangout is live on air, or air on live. Air is live.
Air
Okay.
on life.
Air
So
on,
no air on my life.
there's no air on my life here. Actually, I know you just, but that's all the hair that I get. Right. Okay. Da, 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 da. Hello and welcome to Desert Island Films, the show in which I invite one lucky guest onto my rented side of the island, and they basically get to bring eight films with them, and two films that I haven't ever seen but really should by now. Today's guest puts the C in Community and also the C in Cojones. It's Conesdeloro. Darren,
Hey,
hello.
hello then. Thank you for pronouncing my name correctly, as many struggle.
I was actually thinking in work to do sort of a it's Cody, well, no, and then sort of lead on to Darren, but I perfected it over the day, and yes, so there we go. How are you today, mate?
I'm radiant.
Yeah, well, I've got to say you look radiant, sir.
No, that's just the beer. It's the beer glow going on.
Good man. Well, you got something going on there, Daz.
Thanks, mate.
You're more than welcome. So, Darren, do you know the format of the show? Basically, there's 8 films that you've picked. You've sent those already. We will talk a little bit about the films, and then I will give you a bit of trivia that you may or may not know.
Yeah, I do know that. I do have a little bit of trivia myself, but it's generally kind of about the special effects people that are involved in these things, because it's one of my my favourite things is all the other stuff that goes along with it. So I'm interested for you to educate me.
Excellent. Well, we can maybe educate each other.
Yeah, we can try.
So, Darren, if anybody's watching, they don't know what your channel's all about, and what Darren's all about, or Conesdeloro is all about, can you give us a few words on you and your channel?
Fuck.
Fuck stretchings, I'd like to say.
Yeah, fuck. Describe who you are, what you do. It's very difficult, actually. I do tend to talk bollocks a lot of the time. It's my main, it's my main feature. It's a redeeming feature, I think. But yeah, I'm kind of, I love the community, and I love the community spirit that's here. Everybody will know, anybody that watches anyway will know that I'm a big champion of anybody new joining the community. I like to interact with new people and encourage new people as well. Especially like to be able to encourage people to get on camera, even though completely hypocritically I didn't do that my first few videos. My first couple of videos, and I was behind the cam because I'm a shrieking violet, and yeah, so I'm kind of known for that, if you like. Meet the Tuber is a big thing. I like to actually meet YouTubers and interact with them. I do that across my channel as well as in person, as you know. And you know, I just waffle along about the games that I had, the games that I'm collecting, and the games that I'm particularly playing at any one given time. So, you know, and a bit of everything and nothing. Really, it's none of it's worth anything. But we'll put it out there anyway.
I will second the everything thing, but I don't agree with the nothing thing. Your content's very entertaining and very diverse as well. So
I try. You know, I kind of don't want to let things get stale. So, you know, as Grubgun would say, what, another fucking series? I can't keep up. But yeah, I kind of drop in and out of things. You know, whatever's in the front of my brain that particular week tends to get put on the tubes. It's a bit like that.
Excellent. Okay, cool. So you did mention in one of your videos, not recently, a couple of videos back, that you were thinking about doing a film pickup, or basically a film collection.
Yeah, I've been a massive movie fan all my life. I'm the guy that when you go to the cinema, I must sit in the centre of the screen. You know, we'll move around the theatre until I'm happy. I need to be in the centre of the visual and the audio kind of epicenter of the cinema. And I will not want you to speak during the movie. You'll need to sit there and absorb it like I am at a molecular level. Yeah. Yeah, I've been a big movie fan all my life. I'm a bit of a frustrated actor. I really should have been in movies. You know, I'm waiting for Simon Pegg to discover me and put me in some obscure British movie where I'll be brilliant.
Well, who knows? You might be at Play next year, so.
Oh, really? Really?
Well, no, but he might be.
Oh, you can't draw me in like that and then say no. I
Yes,
was on the hook then. I was foaming at the mouth. That would be awesome though. That would be. I would totally lose it as well. I would.
I can see foam come out of Darren's mouth as we speak.
I would. I'd just lose it. Yeah, I would. It'd be a total fan spaz moment.
What did you think? Are you a Red Dwarf fan?
I have been, yeah. Back in the day, I watched it right from the very first episode, right from the very first airing. Yeah. I was videoing them right from the very first episode, and continued to watch them generally every night when I got in from the pub. I kind of watched up to about series 6, but I felt that it lost something as soon as they got money. And there was a little bit more production value. It kind of lost something for me. I know I had a little chat with Chris actually in Overbook about this. My favourite seasons are 1 to 3, nudging into 4. But after that, I kind of it kind of went a little. The first 2 seasons, especially because they had fuck all money, and so all they relied on was words. So brilliant. Yeah,
it's something very different at the time. So.
Yeah, and yeah, amazing thing, and yeah, as I say, I've been a big fan of it, really ever since.
Yeah. Okay, so actually moving on to the show, which is obviously about movies. Right, we've got 8 films here, and what I'd like you to do is give me your first pick.
Okay, so I will do these in the order that I gave them to you previously, just so I don't piss you about. And this has been so hard. Can I just say, anybody that's going to come on here, you might think, oh, that's easy. It's easy. Yeah, it is. But your list will change 3 or 4 times. I've kind of gone with, I didn't want to go the obvious routes, and I'll just. You did say that we could mention some ones that were not in my list here, so. The main missing one here, and it'll shock a lot of people if they know me and watch what I've done before, is Ghostbusters. It is my all-time favourite movie of all time, no exception, but it's not in the list, which might sound a little bit stupid. But I can recite it word for word. I know the scenes. It's burnt onto my corneas. I wouldn't need it on the island. I can replay it for myself. Other movies in there. All the Indiana Jones films are not in there. None of the Star Wars films are in there. None of the Back to the Future films are in there. And they are all franchises that I am absolutely invested in. Love them to bits. Couple of other things. The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing. It's been a massive, massive movie for me. Love that movie, but it's not in my list.
What do you think about the pre-log one or the?
No, never even seen it.
What is it?
Doesn't exist. I'm not interested.
It's pretty good.
But, that being said, like I said, and I'm sure a lot of people, like I say, would think it's easy this, but it's not. I really struggled with it, and I've narrowed it down to basically the movies that have been with all my life and that mean certain things to me at certain points in my life. So the first movie, and again, if anyone's watched me before, they'll not be surprised, is Blade Runner.
What a great film.
Ridley Scott's masterpiece, absolute masterpiece of science fiction. It's amazing, really. And the thing with Ridley Scott as well, again, the Alien franchise, could have had them in there, not got any of those in there, especially the first film. The thing with Ridley's films is they're really timeless. I'd put it to anybody that you can watch Blade Runner today, and I'd like to see you pick fault with the effects and stuff, because it still stands up today. It looks amazing.
Agreed. And the storyline is second to none as well, isn't it?
It's fantastic. I mean, it's a brilliant idea. It's a brilliant story. It's well executed. The cinematography is astounding. The effects for its day. I mean, God knows what this must have looked like back in the day when it first came out. The jaws must have been, on the floor. Yeah. I've not actually been lucky enough to see this at the cinema. I came across this later in life, and all the characters are really solid. There's no one really that flaky in it. All the actors do a fantastic job. Harrison Ford is more than believable as Deckard.
Yeah.
He is, and when you look at Harrison, well, very very much an actor that kind of assumes the role, you know, the character. And what I like about Deckard is that he's kind of reluctant in doing what he's doing. So he's retired. He's a retired Blade Runner. He's not really wanting to go and, you know, sort out these replicants, but he's been drawn back in. You know, it's another job. You know, as the guy says to him, the police chief. You know, I need the old Deckard. I need the old Deckard magic. So it's really, you know, and he has sympathy for the replicants as well. When he's kind of retiring them, as they call it in the movie, he has sympathy for them, and he really, you know, that kind of element of it. It's not just I'm a big badass cop and I'm blowing, you know, these aliens away, these machines away. He feels for them, you know, and he doesn't like having to do this, but it's his job. You know, I can't really resonates through the film that thread. I really like that.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. When there has been sort of rumours about a sequel. What will be your views on that?
It's got to be Ridley Scott directing it. I think I've said this before as well. I'm kind of looking forward to the new Star Wars movie. Han Solo at 70 years old would be quite difficult to pull off, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of been so long. I think Deckard at 70 years old, you could do that because, you know, it's a pretty gritty environment that he's in anyway in Blade Runner. You know, he's pretty gnarly in that movie anyway. Even though he's a younger man, then he's still pretty war torn and battle beaten. So I think to see him now would pull that off. I think Harrison Ford could certainly reprise Deckard in his his late 60s, early 70s and pull it off. I think it'd be, but just don't give it to anybody that, you know, turn it into like just a run-of-the-mill action movie. It really upset me that, and sequels can be brilliant, but they can be car crashes as well.
Yeah, and they let's face it, they can ruin the whole sort of feel of the first one, you know, because obviously it's a completely different vision, and if the director's looking at that vision, then is the first one not ruined because they were actually trying to do something else? But
yeah.
Okay, so right, Blade Runner. Your favourite part in Blade Runner? Have you got one? Do you know one?
Scene?
Yeah, your favourite scene. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the kind of the end of the movie, when Rutger Hauer's character and Daryl Hannah's character, the only ones left, Roy Batty and Pris, and he turns up obviously to the big building there to find them. And he kind of blows Pris away, and what I like about that, and Daryl Hannah is brilliant in that film as well. I think it's a travesty that she went on to do so many rom-coms and turkeys, and because to see her again in Kill Bill, and I could have put those in here as well, but to see her in there as Elle Driver, it's like Daryl Hannah's a fucking brilliant actress. She's a brilliant actress and much maligned, very overlooked through the majority of her career. Brilliant in this, and very believable as, you know, kind of very menacing in this film. She's a beautiful lady,
yeah,
but very menacing. So the bit obviously where he has to retire her and she's freaking out and spazzing out and slapping the floor is really shocking.
Yeah.
And just that bit, that kind of that playfulness, that kind of that dark humour that Roy Batty has. He pulls Deckard's hand through the wall and breaks a couple of his fingers, and then gives him the gun back and lets him shoot at him. You know, that kind of thing where he's wanting him to stop him. He's like, "Here I am, you know, you've got to shoot me, but shoot straight." You know, that kind of that playfulness of, it's like a cat playing with a fly. You know, he's about. He brings Harrison to the point of death. He lets him fall off the building and then ultimately rescues him. You know, because life to him has become precious. He's losing his.
Yeah.
So that kind of, you don't see it coming right to the very end, but that very end sequence, really like that. But there's so many poignant moments throughout it. The one that really still makes me cringe is when Roy Batty kills Tyrell, and you can hear his eyes pop when he pushes his fingers into his eyes. I have to turn away, and I'm like, ooh. You don't actually see it happen though in the cut of the movie. It doesn't happen. But if I can give you a fact for a minute.
Oh yes.
That was actually there were scenes cut out that Tyrell is actually a replicant in the movie. And when he does that, when Roy kills him, he's supposed to be kind of springs and stuff fall out of his head, and he's kind of exposed as a replicant. And then Roy goes down the next level in the elevator. You just see him leave in the final cut of the movie, but in the actual script, he was supposed to go down to the next level and then find Terrell frozen in stasis. So he's supposed to have died, but he's put his body on ice, and then, you know, the actual guy is a replicant in him.
Was this in the novel? Was it, or was this just how
this was actually written in? It was supposed to be scripted in. There's actually storyboarded in as being part of the movie, but they never went that way. It just ended up, you know, didn't do it.
Interesting. I think that was a big thing. I remember that you know, is he or isn't he a replicant?
No, Harrison Ford's not a replicant. No.
Yeah,
I don't buy into that.
In the extended version, he's got glint in his eye, hasn't he?
People read all sorts of stuff into whatever they want. You know, they do. They'll say, yeah, but in this scene he turns his head slightly when that's said, and that shows you that. No, it don't fucking show you nothing. He turns his head in that scene. Yeah, I love all that though. I love all that conspiracy of.
Me too. Yeah,
they're trying to tell you that he really. No, they're not. They're fucking not. You know, with all the unicorns and all the extra shit they put in there, that's the imagery, that's the untold story they're trying to tell, but not the fact that Harrison turned his head at a certain millisecond and winked or squinted or had a tear in his eye. No.
There was no tears. Okay, so let me give you some facts, Daz. Ridley Scott regards Blade Runner 1982 as probably his most personal and complete film.
Yeah.
Which, yes, I kind of agree.
Yeah, I think so. It's a tour de force, and yeah, awesome.
This is Rutger Hauer's favourite of his own films as well.
Good man.
Good man. I would agree.
I would put a side on that as Hitcher.
I just comment on the Hitcher. Yes, that is one hell of a fantastic film.
Yeah.
With C. Thomas Howell, isn't it?
Again, could have been in there, but it's not. It's so frustrating.
Repeat after me. I. Genius. To ensure that he didn't have to wear a hat in the film, having just come off Raiders of the Lost Ark in 1981, Harrison Ford went out and got a contemporary haircut, which Ridley Scott didn't care for, as it was, and he essentially stuck with it. Sorry, get my words out of it. So basically, he had a hat, or he didn't want to wear a hat because obviously people would look at him and think that's Indiana Jones there. So.
Yeah. No, good, fair play. No, it really inhabits the role, and no, that's what Deckard looked like, definitely.
Yeah, no, great. Yeah. Ridley Scott initially toyed with the idea about setting the film in a fictional city of San Andreas? Yeah. No. San Angeles.
San Angeles.
My right is not the greatest either. As if San Francisco and Los Angeles become one massive population center. The idea was used in Demolition Man in 1983. It took 3 hours to glue all the sequins onto Joanna Cassidy. Interesting.
Okay. It would have taken 1 hour, but the bloke fancied it.
Can you blame him?
Not really, no.
There are only 90 special effects shot in the entire film, which I think gives it credit to the acting abilities and the actual storyline of the actors or of the characters.
Yeah. Ridley has been on record as saying smoke and rain just hides everything. It is the ultimate, effect. That's why it's smoky and raining throughout the entire film.
Yeah, that is known as a smoky and rainy film, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And finally, the ending title sequence in the theatrical cut of the film contains unused footage from Stanley Kubrick's
Shining.
Yeah,
I knew that. Yeah, because that again, I struggled. I had to remove it. There were two Nicholson movies in here that I had to remove. Shining was one of them. But yeah, that big panoramic sort of scenery where they're driving up to the hotel. Right. Yeah, the end of Blade Runner is the same. Yeah, lovely landscape. Yeah.
With that, what's the track called? The soundtrack.
I just listened to that today as well. I've got it on a CD actually. I've got it on a compilation of Vangelis.
Yeah.
But yeah,
good, isn't it?
And again, the movie score, I did my kind of, when I talked about Blade Runner on that digibook I bought, I didn't mention the music at all in the movie, and it's really, really suits just the look of it. It just fits so well. Van Gelsen's score is, you know, it's like a hand in a glove. It just fits it so well.
Yeah, definitely. So, Daz, just to recap, your first pick to take on the island is
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner, fantastic choice. Okay, so right, your second film is a favourite of mine as well. So we're gonna have a good conversation about this.
Okay.
It is
Goodfellas.
Goodfellas. What a classic! What a classic!
Didn't know Ray Liotta until I saw this film, and I still believe that it is his best work to date.
Yeah, agreed. I actually don't like him as an actor at all in anything he's done after Goodfellas.
Since or before. Yeah, I'm absolutely with you on that. I think he struggles.
Yeah.
I think he's awkward and doesn't inhabit the roles that he plays. But in this, it's just, again, it just fits him. It just really fits him.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know the guy, obviously. Well, not obviously, but I don't know the guy. But I don't think there's probably a day that goes by that he don't wake up and think, "Fucking hell, that was great in that movie."
What happened? What happened after that?
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't tell you. The only other thing I've ever seen him in that I can remember was Hannibal, where he's kind of eating his own brain at the end of the movie. But yeah, in this, just his narration as well. His narration over the film.
Yeah.
And that's another thing about the film that I like is when I first saw it, I thought I've never really seen a film like this before, where there's the characters narrating over the kind of film as well. You know, filling that in. And that really works, as I say, and the fact that it goes across a timeline as well, where he's kind of growing up, you know, and becoming an adult, and then eventually, you know, his life within the mafia. I really like that as well. I really like the way the film is kind of almost in two halves, as is a child and growing up, and then kind of the kind of decay of it all as well. It's like it's almost in two halves.
Yeah, no, you know, in regards to gangster films as such, I would class this certainly on a par with Scarface in regards to storyline and character development and everything. I think my favourite, which might be a bit of a random one, is Carlito's Way, gangster film with Al Pacino. That is, you know, I can watch 100 gangster films, and Goodfellas is definitely up there.
See, that's the thing with Pacino. I've never really bought into that. I mean, I saw Scarface on a pirate video when it very first came out back in the day, and even then I thought it was long-winded.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 3+ hours or whatever it is, and it's such a fucking effort for me to watch that movie. I know it was one of Shox's favourites, and I know it's a big favourite to a lot of people, but I don't know. I much prefer Bob De Niro in a gangster movie. I don't buy into Pacino. I know that I'm gonna get hung by the purists for that, because obviously Scarface is the ultimate kind of gangster movie.
It's very Marmite, Al Pacino. I think you either love him, or you don't love him. You know, that's.
I think he's a good actor, and he's one of those actors that inhabits the role completely.
Yeah.
But I just, like you say, I just don't buy into him as much as I do, you know, other actors.
Yeah. I will just say one thing, Daz. When I'm looking away and I look like I'm typing, I'm actually going through my facts, so I am paying attention to what you're saying.
Okay, that's all right.
I'm checking my facts.
I don't expect anyone to pay attention when I'm talking.
I shut off call an hour ago, but never mind. No, I didn't. Of course I didn't. So, again, same question. Have you got a favourite part in the film?
Yeah, it just hooks you right from the beginning. It's just fucking... just gets me every time, is the opening sequence. So they're driving along in the car. This is after the kind of Billy Bats murder sequence, or they think they've murdered him sequence. Yeah. So right at the beginning of the movie, it opens. They're just in a car. It's all quiet, and you can hear the hum of the road, and just the kind of the dun 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 as they're going over the kind of the joins in the road, and then there's the noise coming from the back. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? Oh fuck! I think I know what it is. And they pull up. They open the boot, and obviously he's not dead. You know. And fucking Tommy, you know, steps forward and stabs him about 10 times in the chest, and he's fucking shooting him 800 times. He just grabs hold of the boot lid, and Ray Liotta says, since I can remember, I wanted to be a gangster. Shuts the lid, and then the music starts. Bum, ba-dum, ba, 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 ba-dum, ba, and just the hairs stand up on the back of my neck. Just that opening scene, you are in. You are in. You are invested within 30 seconds.
Yeah. Get comfortable. This is going to be a good one, isn't it?
You're in. You're absolutely in at that point. It doesn't matter what goes on from that point. You're in. But again, and just the, like I say, the timeline of you kind of almost living his life with him. So he's a young kid. He's starting to get involved with them. You know, he can see what's going. He's making money here and there. And another one is where he kind of sets light to all those cars and he's running away, and it pauses as his arms are out, and just as all the cars explode. Yeah. And he talks about when the kids from the neighbourhood carried his mum's, you know, shopping bags back from the ship. You know why? It was out of respect. You know, it takes time to the movie takes time to pause, and all the noise shuts off just to hear a bit of dialogue, and it's lots of points within it are really poignant like that. Martin Scorsese, you know, absolutely amazing.
Genius, isn't it?
Amazing, yeah, and as I say, so many good performances in it. I mean, I would say that I could have a side favourite would be the scene in the restaurant when Tommy is kind of, you know, pulling Henry's leg, and he's like, "Why the fuck am I funny? What's so fucking funny about me? Why the fuck am I funny?" You know, he's telling that story. He's saying, "Well, you're a funny guy. What do you mean? The way I talk?" Well, you know, and everyone's getting really nervous, and you can feel it. You actually start getting nervous yourself. You think, "Oh, fuck, Tom's going to kick off." And you can feel everyone's going, "Oh, fuck, he's going to kick off. He's going to kick off," and then it's like funny, and you relax yourself at the same time as the characters in the movie go, "Oh, fuck, he's just taking the piss." You do it yourself. You feel the tension in your stomach go. It's amazing. It is amazing.
No, no, agree. I think you're right in regards to your favourite part. You know, it really just sets the scene, doesn't it? But all the way through the film, you can pick. You lose count. It's really difficult, you know. But for me, like I said, that very first few seconds, and you're just in. I don't know of any other movie, certainly within this list of movies, that hooks you so quickly. Yeah. No, agreed. So moving on to the facts. Well, it's trivia mainly. It's just telling you a little bit about the film and sort of the backstory. So the "You Think I'm Funny" scene, which we were just talking about, was based on a story that Joe Pesci acted out for Martin Scorsese. While working in a restaurant as a young man, Pesci once told a mobster that he was funny, and the mobster became very angry.
No way! It's based on real life.
It's based on real life.
Oh.
Scorsese allowed Pesci and Ray Liotta to improvise the scene. He did not tell any of the other actors in the scene what would happen because he wanted their genuine surprise reaction. So how cool is that?
That makes absolute sense. That makes absolute sense.
When you say you're sat there, you're watching it on edge, nervous, thinking what is going to happen, all the actors around thought to themselves, what is going to happen?
Genius. Fucking genius.
How cool is that? Ray Liotta's Toyota. Ray Toyota. His mother died of cancer. Joy, this isn't a funny. This is quite sad actually. His mother died of cancer during filming. Toyota says that he used his anger over losing his mother for certain scenes.
When Paulie gives him the last money, I bet that's one of the scenes. When he gives him the money and says, "Now I'm going to turn my back on you." And
the pistol whipping scene in particular, he says. After the premiere, Henry Hill, which was one of the characters it was based on, wasn't it? Henry Hill went around to reveal his true identity, i.e. sort of boasting that, hey, they made a film. In response, the government kicked him out of the Federal Witness Protection Program.
Oh! Good luck with that, sir. Off you go. Bang, bang, bang.
2 seconds later, you got death.
Is he alive now? Is he still alive?
Oh. Don't know. Do you know what? I'm going to search that in a second. Right. After Joe Pesci's mother saw the film, she told her son that the movie was good, then asked him if he had to curse so much. It's a film, of course I did, which leads me nicely on to my final fact. The word fuck and other tenses were used 321 times.
Not enough.
An average of 2.04 per minute.
Not enough.
Uh, about half of them was said by Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci, yeah. You gotta be.
Quality.
Yeah,
Well,
awesome.
yeah, just to recap, your second film that you're coming on the island with you is
The incredible Goodfellas.
Agreed. Now, Mike, you might be shocked by this one. I haven't seen your third pick.
Oof, you need to
Yeah.
sort that shit out big time.
Filth.
How have you not seen this? It's on TCM every hour, on the hour, I think. Like a constant rolling loop.
It is as well.
Hmm.
Which was nicely on to my next question. Your third pick is
Dirty Harry.
Dirty Harry.
Mm.
Dirty Harry. Okay, why Dirty Harry?
Because not Magnum Force. I did have a list of Eastwood's movies. In the Line of Fire is one of my super favourites.
That is good, actually, yeah.
Yeah. I know lots of war movies. I love a movie escape movie. I love movie escapes, and there was a couple that were in here that I ripped out. So obviously, Escape from Alcatraz. But it was the first movie I can remember watching where I paid attention to Clint Eastwood. This character, just the kind of, he's awesome. And Callahan is he's the cop everyone wants to be. He's got bosses and stuff, but he doesn't give a fuck about what they're going to say. He's out there, he's enforcing the law. He's almost like, Judge Dredd. He is the law. He will enforce it. He's going to do that, and just no one can argue with him either. He'll be with his chief or he'll be with the mayor or whatever, and he's got a fucking good argument for how he handles business. The biggest gun in the world, and he would love to tell you about it. Just as he's about to pull the trigger on you, he's going to tell you. That he's going to take your head clean off. All those brilliant lines. But just that kind of. He's basically a good guy as well, Callahan. He's a good guy. He's fighting for us. And fucking blow the fucking bad guy away. Fucking blow him away. Instant justice.
Like you said, Judge Dredd wise. So
yeah, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna fucking blow you away because you're doing wrong, and I'm here to stop you. Yeah. What's wrong with that?
How many Dirty Harry films were there?
There were Dirty Harry, Magnum Force. Then they were kind of got a bit flaky, didn't they? Was there Deadpool, which is kind of isn't it? They kind of, for me, there's only two. There's Dirty Harry and Magnum Force.
Yeah.
What were the others? I'm struggling to remember now. I've not fucking wrote that down, you bastard. But I know the kind of, his character, that kind of character. Although in those others, I don't think they even refer to him as Callahan in those others. So it was Dirty Harry, Magnum Force. There was a third, wasn't there? What was the third? No.
You mentioned Line of Fire, or
no, in the Line of Fire is not Callahan. He's not Callahan in that movie. No, he's the president, kind of protector, isn't he?
Yeah. That's right. And a favourite part in the film?
The very end, of course. When he already does the kind of scene where there's the bank robbery, and he kind of strolls over and just causes absolute hell on that street when he's there. But in his defence, he's sat having a hot dog. He says to the guy, dial the fucking police station. Tell him there's a fucking, gives him the number. Tell him there's a in progress. It makes sure to tell him it's in progress. And then, just before he bites his hot dog, he says, "Now, if they can just wait, while the cavalry arrive." No, fucking alarm goes off, and he says, "Oh shit, I've got to get up now, do some work." He's walking across, blows them all away, and says to the guy, does the iconic line, "I know what you're thinking. Did he fire 6 shots or only 5? Tell you the truth, I've forgotten myself in all this excitement. You've got to ask yourself one question: do I feel lucky? Do you? Do you feel lucky punking on that?" And right at the very end, because the guy, the bad guy in the film is really, really evil, obviously, really nasty character. He lets the girl die, buried alive. It's fucking awful. So you do want him to shoot him. So he says it all again right at the very end, and of course he goes for the gun and just shoots him, and he falls back into the pond, and that's it. So the very end, really, where he reprises that, that sentence, that line, that he uses. Who wouldn't want to come out with a kick-ass line just before you blew the bad guy away? Everybody'd want to do that, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that.
But sadly, I think if we tried, we'd probably get blown away ourselves. Well, do you feel the bang? Oh, shit. Shouldn't have said that. Blown out.
Yeah, and just amazing, you wouldn't do that. So here we go. I can tell you now, mate. It's Dirty Harry, Magnum Force, the Enforcer. There you go. And then Sudden Impact and Deadpool are the two kind of hanging on at the back there, where he's kind of Izzy Callahan, isn't he? So it's the Enforcer's the third one. Forgot about that.
It's interesting. I've got a few obviously bits of trivia here that sort of brush up on that him not being Dirty Harry, but maybe Dirty Harry.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of take those out. So moving on to the trivia, you have just spoilt the first part, which was the movie's most famous line is often misquoted. A lot of people mistakenly quote the line as "Do you feel lucky, punk?" While the actual line is, "You've got to ask yourself one question:
Do I feel lucky?
I feel lucky. Yeah. Well, do you, punk?"
Do you, punk? Yeah.
So well done for getting that.
Thank you. I'm glad I could ruin it for you.
and now I don't even need to see the film as well. So.
I can't believe you've not seen that. I mean, there must be 1,000 people obviously listening to this here program.
Obviously.
Who are now aghast and absolutely shocked and horrified, appalled that you've not seen that movie. You must put that right this weekend.
Do you know what? I may well do. No, I'm going away this weekend, but I will definitely put it right in the next week or so. Definitely. Excuse me. After the film was released, actor Andrew Robinson. Who's that?
Andrew Robinson?
Andrew Robinson, yes. Who's that?
Is he his partner in the movie?
I'm
the bad guy.
I'm presuming he's the bad guy because it goes after the film was released. Actor Andrew Robinson received several death threats.
Yeah.
And he had to get an unlisted phone number.
He is pretty freaky. He really, again, inhabits the role. Unfortunately for him.
A police department in the Philippines ordered a print of the movie for use as a training film.
Wow.
So basically, the coppers in the Philippines you don't want to mess with.
No, because it just fucking pull out a hand cannon and that's your head gone.
But you might get sort of like 30 seconds while they're trying to think of a quick-witted way to take you off to get yourself out of that pickle. Clint Eastwood performed all his own stunts, including a stunt where he jumps onto the roof of a hijacked school bus from the bridge.
Wow.
It's clearly visible throughout the shot, which is something that obviously I look for. When in films, whenever there's a stunt, it's like that's not him. Clearly not him. So that's.
Now they'd let him do that nowadays.
No, God, no, he's worth waiting.
Insurance would kill it.
Yeah. Albert Popwell, don't know, appeared in every Dirty Harry film, and the Dirty Harry is in brackets for some reason. So
I think he's the guy who he calls Fatso. They're walking through and he calls him Fatso. He's like a rough, tough type of policeman. He always has very few lines in it. I'm sure that's he calls him.
Okay. I'll read the fact out. Appeared in every Dirty Harry film except the Deadpool, 1988, playing a different character in each movie.
Oh, right. So I'm talking about. Not like me.
An interesting one. The bridge that Callahan jumps off, landing on the roof of a school bus, is in Lake Spear, California. It was torn down in August 2003 after being damaged by a truck 2 months earlier. So that bridge that was used in the film is no longer there.
It's no more.
No more. Both Arnold Schwarzenegger and Robert Rich, U-R-I-C-H, and he's now deceased, said about the character of Harry Callahan as being one of the biggest influence in their careers. Wow. Schwarzenegger said watching Dirty Harry inspired him to seek out action roles with wisecracking heroes.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history. So, you can thank Clint Eastwood for bringing us Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Thank you, Mr. Eastwood.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, as you were going to say?
No, I wasn't.
No.
For a change.
Conesdeloro stumped for a change.
No, not stumped. I just didn't have anything to say.
So just to recap, your number 3 film was
Dirty Harry.
Dirty Harry. Brilliant. Okay, so moving on to number 4. I think we're on number 4. We are on number 4, aren't we?
Yeah, we better speed up.
So your eyes on the clock as well. So film number 4 is
The American Werewolf in London.
What a corker! What a corker! I've got to say, your picks so far have been very diverse. And
yeah, well, that's me, mercurial.
I like the horror aspect of this. So, could you tell us why The American Werewolf in London?
Simply down to Rick Baker and his special effects. This was the first werewolf movie, and I do like a good werewolf movie.
Yeah.
Where it's filmed in full light. The main change sequence, you know what I mean. So yeah. the scene. Filmed in full light. Yeah, filmed in full light. You've got to, when you watch this movie, you've got to realise that there's no green screen, there's no CGI, none of that stuff's there. It's all there in front of the camera. Obviously there's certain points where he's, David Norton's been sunk into the ground, and so they can make his stomach shrink and all the rest of it. But just the hands growing, the face distorting, all that stuff, that is all, as you're seeing it, that they're filming it there. Nothing's been touched up afterwards. That is there at that moment in time. So those effects, and again, it's a movie that I think you can watch today, apart from one or two cheesy bits in it where, we've got obvious masks on and stuff like that, it stands up. Honestly, I don't think before or after there's been a better werewolf, sort of human changing to werewolf sequence ever. It is the pinnacle. It's the iconic scene. Awesome. Wow.
Great.
Yeah, I've got that off my chest now. So yeah, but apart from that, again, it's very kind of British in its execution as well. I don't know whether that's because obviously it's filmed in England, and they're supposed to be in the North Yorkshire Moors, and they're actually in Wales, when they're filming it at the beginning. And when they go into the slaughtered lamb, that's what pubs look like in this country. Yeah. Apart from the 5-pointed star and candles, although I have been into a few like that, where you walk in and everyone just goes deathly silent, because you're not from round here, that kind of thing. It resonates, I think, with me because it comes across as a very British movie, and John Landis captures that really well. It's pretty grim, all the rest of it. A brilliant ensemble cast. Jenny Agutter, need to say, Mum. Hell yeah. So, and if you don't like that, then, there's something wrong with you. Just as I say, and the effects as well are very sparse in this movie. So that is the iconic scene where he changes, and everyone remembers that because it's just so epic. But the rest of it was pretty low rent effects, really. As I say, rubber masks and contact lenses, and half a wolf running around on a shopping trolley in the middle of Leicester Square. Being pushed around. Very, as I say, very kind of low rent, but yeah, brilliant. And the comedy element of it as well. It's kind of a dark comedy, so Griffin Dunn or Jack Goodman, as he comes back when he's being killed, and that little flappy bit of skin hanging off his neck when he comes to see him in hospital, just those effects, as I say, very subtle, some of them, but really, really effective. And he's gradually decaying as well. So when he goes to see him again, and he's in the porn movie in Leicester Square, and he's like almost a skeleton at that point. He's like gradually decaying. Just that kind of comedy element to it as well, and some real shit your pant moments as well. Some real make you sit up and go fuck, moments. Yeah. Kind of with the dreamscapes where he kind of wakes up and then he's not really awake, and it scares you again and it scares you again, that kind of thing. It absolutely terrified me when I was younger, but now it really makes me laugh, and I'm not afraid of it at all. I think that's the thing as well. It kind of when I first saw the movie, it scared me. And then, you know, kind of peeking out from behind the settee moments. And then now, in my adult life, I've kind of, yeah, I can appreciate it for the kind of art that it is, you know.
Do you know what, Darren? When we spoke before, and you said, you know, you had to take off sort of Star Wars. So we were talking about Rocky and
Yeah.
talking about Indiana Jones and what have you. I fully agree why you've done that.
Mm.
Because there are so many great non-blockbusting, make £10 million in this first weekend, and so there's so many great films out there.
Yeah, no, awesome. I mean, and just if you read Rick Baker's like biopic as well of the effects in the movies that he's been, they're all there. So you know, for me, this stands out as his kind of brilliant work. But you know, he worked on The Exorcist, he worked on Star Wars, he worked on The Howling, the Thriller video. You know, obviously Michael Jackson roped him and John Landis in to do that. Gremlins 2, The Frighteners, Men in Black, Hellboy, X-Men Last Stand. It keeps going and going and going. And these guys, what I like is that these are the kind of unsung heroes of the movies as well. You don't really. You sit in the movie theatre and you're wowed by them and you're like, oh, fucking amazing effects in that movie. But when did you last look at the credit and think, well, who was that? And then go and research what else they've done. You'd be amazed. You know, you'd be amazed the amount of movies that these people have worked on. And I actually saw as well, I was lucky enough, I'm not sure it's there now, but I had a trip but did the Florida thing. I went to Universal Studios as it was before they bolted on all the other stuff. And they did a little horror show, and the actual head that David Kessler's head, as he turns into the wolf, where you can hear the bones cracking and there's that horrible kind of throaty growl from the wolf as he's turning into it, and his nose extends and it pushes out. That head was actually in the show, and they showed it with still the hydraulic ram behind it pushing the face forward as well. So I got to see the actual head, the prosthetic that was in the movie. So that was really good. Yeah, to see that.
Was it the same technique used in The Howling? Do you remember The Howling?
Yeah, I think so. He worked on both those movies, so definitely his influence in those. But I still, as I say, I still put that change sequence in American Werewolf from London above anything else I've ever seen.
Yeah, totally agree. Right, so you've pretty much given us our favourite part, haven't you?
Yeah, it's got to be that. Yeah, it's got to be the change. It's the metamorphosis, the change sequence.
Okay, cool. So then moving on to the trivia part. Right, this is right up our street, mate. The fake porno movie, See You Next Wednesday, was the first thing to be filmed during production.
Can I just say I have no affiliation with Steve or his opinion on that whatsoever, and that is his opinion and not mine. Thank you.
Such a liar. Moving on. This is the first film to earn the Academy Award for Best Makeup. The category was created in 1981, so the same time that it came out. So I presume they made a new Academy Award for American Werewolf in London, which is quite interesting. Excuse me. Excuse me. All the songs in the film have the word moon in the titles. Yeah. John Landis has reported that he was approving a high-definition transfer of the film for DVD in the mid-2000s. He was taken aback by how gory the film actually was.
Yeah, there's a fair bit of blood knocking about.
Yeah. The episode of The Muppet Show in 1976, playing on the television during David's nightmare sequence, is The Muppet Show Senior Winces in 1980, but the portion shown was never shown in the US. This is why Americans often assume that it must be a fake episode, and why was Miss Piggy and Kermit the Frog ever credited in the credits when they go out? So,
I've never seen that. And I was a huge Muppets fan as well back in the day. But you know, being that age, I wouldn't have even seen the movie by then.
It actually cut out of that episode,
right?
But it was part of the episode, but it was just ended up on the cutting floor. David Newton was reportedly cast because John Landis had seen him on a television commercial for Dr. Pepper.
All right. Fair enough.
Fair enough. Good actors in those Dr. Pepper adverts.
See, be careful. Don't, if you get offered any parts, just take them all. You'll never know what they might lead to.
What's the worst that could happen? Unlike most motion pictures, it was filmed in sequence. So the opening scenes were filmed first, and the closing sines were filmed last.
Is there any other way to make a movie? I've often struggled with this. If I was going to make a movie, it would have to be in sequence. Why did they do it any other way? I don't know.
Funny you said that, because when I had Novabug on a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about that, and one of his picks was Aliens. And you know the first it's literally within the first sort of 15 minutes where all the Marines meet up, and they're being briefed on why they're at this colony and what's to be expected and everything.
Yeah.
And if you watch it back, which I have done since, it's very fluent, and the banter is really good.
Yeah.
And that was filmed right at the very end because he wanted it sort of to have the banter and all the jokes and sort of like, you know, to make it feel real, rather than getting all these actors in one group together and say, right, be good together. You know, so
by the end of the movie, they've got to know each other. They've done all these scenes. So and it works. It does.
Yeah, it does work. It does work. So just to recap, your fourth film, Daz, is
American Werewolf in London.
Perfect. Now moving on to your fifth film, and I will ask what the film is, and I will ask you why.
Okay. It's Quadrophenia.
Quadrophenia, The Who.
Yeah. It's a Who production. Yeah.
Right, you've taken off Raiders of the Lost Ark. You've taken off Empire Strikes Back. You've quite clearly got mistaken. You've taken off Rocky 4 and not Rocky 3. Why Quadrophenia?
Yeah, and I've took Ghostbusters off that as well, and Back to the Future, and left Quadrophenia in there. Why?
I would just like to point out at this point, I am not affiliated to Darren whatsoever.
But you've not seen this film.
No, I haven't.
No.
So,
and I'll go even further than this. So just to give you some backstory on this as well. Before I even owned the movie, I used to rent this movie every weekend. When we had a little video shop in our local village, back then when you had to be a member, you know, it cost you 25 quid to join and all the rest of it. And we had a number. Our number was 203, and they had a little card in the back of the video cases that were on the walls.
Yeah.
So when you rented a movie, you took the card out of the case, you went up to the counter, you put it down, they wrote your number on it, and then they gave you the video. And on the back of that card on Quadrophenia, in real-time video, as it was called in Thurcroft, it just said 203, 203, 203, 203, 203, all the way down it. In the end, they offered to sell it, mate. But man, yeah, just fucking take it. You've bought it, mate. I must have spent 200 quid on that fucking for renting it at £1.50 a week. But no, it was at a time when I've not always been this jolly. It has to be pointed out, I had a pretty rough time as a kid, and I could really relate to the main character Jimmy and the trials and tribulations he was having in his life. I've never been a mod. I just like to point that out. I've never been a mod. I've never owned a scooter. Never had a Lambretta. I do like the Who, and I think that their film score again really suits this. It really fits it. But obviously, it's got to, because it's a film about mods and the rockers and all that kind of stuff that went on. Yeah. But regardless of any of that, I really kind of sympathise and empathise with the main character, and you know, the stuff he's going through in his life. And at that time, I was going through some pretty appalling shit myself. So it was kind of an escape, and he showed great strength as well. Although he was losing it, he loses his job, he loses his girlfriend, he loses, you know, respect for the other mods, and stuff like that. He kind of falls out with the crowd he's running with and all the rest of it, and he really finds who he is. He kind of fights through all that shit, and right at the beginning of the film is actually the end of the film, where he's kind of walking back away from the cliff, and the music starts. Can you see the real me? Can you? And it's kind of, you know, it's that struggle we all go through in our lives, that kind of teenage angst, you know, that kind of struggle through those years, because they're not very pleasant years. Not for a lot of people anyway. It's a kind of a hard time. You're finding who you are and, you know, your place in life, and you make mistakes, you know, and hopefully you'll learn from them. Sometimes you don't, you just repeat them. But yeah, I really kind of, like I say, it resonated with me. Like, let me just say that, and I took a lot of comfort in watching that film. There you go. That's why you asked.
See, that was Rocky 4 for me.
Fuck off.
my video store had me down for Rocky 4 as well on several occasions. So, but not every weekend. So fair shame. So would you say? I mean, it sounds like it's a film about life. Basically, it's a film.
Yeah, it's about Jimmy's life and his struggle with drug addiction. Not that I had that in my life. I just like to point that out. But yeah, he's kind of a, like I say, he's a young lad. He's trying to fit in. He's trying to be, you know, he's trying to be somebody. He wants to be somebody. And he says in the movie, you know, I don't want to be like everybody else. You know, I want to be a nice face. He wants to be somebody, and he's kind of struggling to be somebody, you know. So the things he does and the things he gets into are all driven by this need to stand out and be recognised and, you know, be someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Favourite part in the film? It sounds like
there's tons. There's loads, but the bit that stands out is something that I think we've all probably wanted to do at some point in our life. And he's working in a job. He's kind of almost like a delivery boy. He takes letters from A to B, and, you know, people don't really respect him. And he's not really working very hard, though. As he said, he's a pretty poor employee. But he kind of goes to Brighton, and it all kicks off. And he ends up being away from work for an extra day, and he really don't give a shit. He's been like kind of, you know, not turning up for work, just chucking sick days and stuff like that, you know, because he just can't be arsed. And so he gets back from this, and he's actually been in court and all the rest of it, and he's got this really pompous boss, this kind of CEO of the company, saying to him, you know, you've got a very steady job here, Cooper, you know, and a lot of young boys your age would give their high teeth for this job, you know, and he's kind of stood there looking at him, and you can see the hatred in his eyes for this guy. And it's all building up when he says, you know, gives him this kind of very, very proper kind of bollocking, if you like. And he says, you know, a lot of young men would give their eye teeth for this job. And he says, oh yeah, we'll find one then. And the bloke kind of goes, I beg your pardon, in this very British way. He says, you heard me, you fucking find one then. You can take that mail and that rubbish and all that other shit I have to go with, and you can stuff them right up your arse. And the guy just sits back in his chair, totally amazed that he's been talked to like that. And I'm sure that a lot of us have been there at some point but never did that. And it's awesome. I could watch that scene, just that one scene. I put the movie on and watch just that one scene and think, yeah. Wish I'd had those berries when I was your age.
All I will say, it must be on YouTube, that one scene.
It's amazing. It's Phil Daniels' finest moment, I think. But just the way he delivers it, I think he must be drawing on some past life experience for that scene, because he really sells it. He means every fucking word of it. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, so yeah, you've kind of sold that to me. So I will, if on, I will definitely view it, or I'll run down to my local video shop and rent it.
It's worth it, honestly it is. And there's such a cast as well, you know, Ray Winstone, one of his first movies.
Yeah.
You know, you'll spot tons and tons of kind of faces that went on to be in British, you know, movies or all the film, you know, other films and stuff. They really went on to, you know, be other people.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So right, I've got a few facts here for you. This is Cameron Crowe's favourite film.
A good taste.
Yeah. John Leyden, the former Johnny Rotten. Is he a former? Is he not Johnny Rotten no more?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I'd like to think he forever will be.
Yeah, of course he will be. He was originally approached for the role of Jimmy, and even screen tested for the role. However, distributors refused to insure him for the part, and he was replaced.
Oh. Well, I have to say, shame, but no, good decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phil Daniels is awesome in that movie.
The scene in the pie shop where Jimmy goes off for a bite of pie and mash and liquor was shot inside a Cook's Pie and Mash shop at 48 Gold Hawk Road, Shepherd's Bush, London.
But it's still there.
I think it is, actually. Yeah, I think it is. The Who began their career in Shepherd's Bush, performing their early gigs at the Gold Hawk Social Club, 205 Gold Hawk Road. It's on the same road. On the front of the scooter that Jimmy steals from Ace are the yellow initials GS.
Yeah.
These initials do not actually stand for Gordon Sumner, the real name is Sting, who plays the part of Ace Face. GS stands for Grand Sport, a popular model of the Vespa scooter in the 1960s. And that's all the trivia I've amassed on this film. So,
and you must, if anyone's anybody that likes the Who as well, that's an awesome album. It's probably my favourite. I know you were thinking about doing something along these lines, but if that was the question, what would my favourite movie soundtrack be? Quadrophenia. It's a fantastic double album. Brilliant.
Good stuff.
Bet Patimus has listened to it. He's a big Who fan.
Good. Right, so do you know, I've never really got into the Who. I don't get me wrong, I do appreciate their songs, and I will listen to one if there's on. It's not a hatred for them or anything. I've just not really sat and appreciated their songs. So that's another thing that I might need to do soon. So just to recap, your fifth film was
Quadrophenia.
Marvelous. And now your sixth film. Your sixth film is an absolute classic, may I say.
Yeah.
And that is
Full Metal Jacket.
What a film! What a film! Why Full Metal Jacket?
Just that first hour, actually. The rest of it you can leave on the cutting room floor. It's kind of It's a movie. It's a movie of two halves, and I much prefer the first half.
Yeah.
But yeah, just now again, something that I watched when it first came out, and it's always kind of just that training bit is off the scale. And obviously the drill sergeant, the guy that plays the drill sergeant,
yes,
and has subsequently become typecast and been that guy in pretty much every other movie he's done. Yeah. He has actually been he was the same drill sergeant in The Frighteners, even though he was dead. Still doing his thing, even in death. But yeah, just that it's so funny. It's so funny. It's just unrelenting. You know, the what those guys go through. You know, in their training, it right from word go, he absolutely hammers them. He crushes them down into a fine powder, and then by some miracle they kind of become soldiers in it all. But I have to say, I really. Yeah, apart from one, obviously, but
it takes it to heart a little bit.
Yeah, it does take it a little bit negatively, shall we say? But the first half of the movie, I think, is some of Stanley Kubrick's, finest work. But it just goes to shit after that, I'm afraid. The second half, although I watch it, it really doesn't. It's almost like it's made by a completely different person, the second half of the movie. I don't know what went wrong. As soon as they get to Vietnam, it just goes to shit.
Yeah.
But that training sequence, and I'm sure everyone knows what I mean by that. I'm sure there will be some people that say, well, actually, I prefer the second half of the movie. You're all wrong. But I would say the majority of people would agree that the training sequences, it's just so funny, and it's the lines in it just. A lot of them unrepeatable because they, very racist in parts, very brutal. And he has to kind of brutalize them, break them down, and turn them into soldiers, turn them into Marines.
Yeah.
You could quote it all week. It's I constantly do when I'm at work. I'm talking to some colleagues. I quote him, especially if it's someone that I want to motivate. Are you quitting on me? All those things, Are you? It's epic, and again, it's one of those movies that gets you right from the start. You know, you're listening to him, you're paying attention, you know, to what he's saying right from the very start. But you know, sadly, you know, as you say, one of them has to, you know, takes it kind of to heart. But yeah, it's not a lot else to be said about it, really.
My question in regards to what is your favourite part of the film, and
it's got to be when Pyle can't get over the obstacle, and you know, he's so frustrated because he wants him to do it. You know, he's willing him on all the way. He tries everything. He tries everything, and Pyle gets almost to the top. It's just one fucking pole at the top of the obstacle, and he's, come on, fat buddy, come on, get up and over, and he just stops. You know, and he's like, what? You shitting? Are you quitting on me? I will motivate you. You know, he's shouting at him as, get the fuck off my obstacle. Get the fuck off my... And he's shouting at him as he goes all the way back down it. I will motivate you if it's the last fucking thing I do. Because he's so frustrated that he won't respond to him and he just can't do it for him.
Yeah.
And then when he actually does find that he's good at something, he's already broken. He's already talking to his rifle and, you know, he's already got that kind of 1,000-yard stare. He's not even been in the Nam, but he's already got the 1,000-yard stare. You know, he's broke him down that far. He's actually becomes a good, you know, a good shot. He's a good rifleman, and unfortunately, he's insane at the end due to it all. But yeah, that's my favourite scene, is where he just can't do it for him. He just can't put his leg over that last hurdle and do it for his sergeant. Yeah, that's the one.
Poor chap. Poor chap.
Poor chap.
Anyway, he's splattered across the toilet room wall now, isn't he? So
yeah, again, that's a very Kubrick scene as well. That end scene, the lighting, it's all very cold and blue. There's like a blue kind of hue on everything.
Yeah.
And that's probably the most Kubrick-esque scene in the movie. And after that, it kind of stops. But yeah, that kind of eerie, there's a psycho in the room kind of thing. You know, he totally believed that he's lost it.
Yeah.
And that he's, and even in, you know, he's even shouting at him when the bullet penetrates his skull. You know, he's still not taking him seriously when he shoots him.
Yeah.
But yeah, awesome.
So right, moving on to the trivia. Denzel Washington was considered for the role of 8-Ball.
All right.
8-Ball.
Yeah, that was Dorian Harewood in the end.
Very good.
He's the colored gentleman. Sorry, I've got it in front of me on Google.
He says that he regrets missing out on the role.
I'll bet. Yeah.
In the first part of the movie, obviously the best part of the movie, in the sequences inside the barracks during the drill, there you go. A special lens was designed to keep every single soldier in focus. Stanley Kubrick intended that no one else was special, or no one was special, and they all had the same treatment, which is quite nice, really.
Yeah.
During filming, a family of it's a bit morbid actually. This one, a family of rabbits were accidentally killed. Stanley Kubrick, an animal lover, was so upset that he cancelled the rest of the day's work.
Where were they killed then? That must have been some kind of explosion then on the Isle of Dogs or whatever it was.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the scenes cut from the movie was a scene that showed a group of soldiers playing soccer. The scene was cut because a shot revealed that they were not using a soccer head. A soccer ball.
It was a head.
Yeah. There you go. Ruin that one.
There's nothing else to do though at that, you know. Going to use.
Arnold Schwarzenegger turned down the role of Animal Mother in order to star in The Running Man, 1987. The Running Man's such a great film. So good. Right, that's my facts. So that was pick number 6, which was
Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket. So moving on to number 7. Again, confession time. Not seen it.
I would have thought a lot of people will have this. Again, I think this is very not unique, but very much a movie of my era. You know, being a teenager when I saw this, it was either this or another one that's just like it, but from a different kind of perspective. And this is The Warriors.
Come out to play.
Yeah, so you have seen it then.
No, I played the game.
All right. That's funny that because I've seen the movie but not played the game, and I own it over there on 2 systems, but it's there to be played.
If I remember correctly, that was one of the ones that you bought off of me. I'm pretty sure it was back in the day.
Was that you?
I think it might have been. Yeah. Does it work?
I hope so. I'm not.
If it works, it was me. If not, it was somebody else.
Right. Okay. I'll not.
So why the Warriors?
Again, it was kind of a movie that it seemed to be everywhere. It was 1979. Well, I didn't see this until at least 1982. I would say I was kind of in the second year of high school at that point. And this one, along with The Wanderers, which I don't know if that's a movie you've seen either.
I've seen The Wanderers. That's Scott.
Yeah.
Is that C. Thomas Howell?
I don't know. It's the Baldies and all the other gangs. Yeah. So The Warriors is a similar movie. So it's about a particular gang. They're from Coney Island, and it's all about the gangs in the city. It's all about the different gangs in the city, and the basic story is that there's one particular gang, the biggest gang in the city, called the Riffs, and they want to unite all the gangs in the city to make one big gang. And the idea is to be able to run the city. They'll control the city, And they have this big meet-up in the Bronx. So all the gangs from the city are told that they can bring 9 guys and no weapons. That's one of the lines from the movie. So 9 of the Warriors travel up from Coney Island, along with hundreds of other gangs, all with 9 delegates. And they meet up in this one place, and the Riff's main guy, Cyrus, he's kind of almost like a preacher. He kind of gives them this big speech about being united, and fighting for your little piece of turf. It's crap, brothers, he says to them. And he lists the amount of kind of potential members of this gang. It's like 100,000 soldiers, he says, 60,000, I think he says. He kind of throws some numbers around, and then he says, there's not 3,000 police in the whole place. We could run he's basically just trying to get them all together. One of the gangs there decide to shoot him. Like all great speakers and kind of the uniters of people generally get shot, don't they, in history? So he gets shot, and then they all just scurry, and the story is that the Warriors basically get blamed. It's not them that do it, but they get blamed for the shooting of Cyrus, and then they've got to get themselves back to Coney Island in one piece, because all the rest of the gangs are looking for them, because they're the ones that have ruined this potential, kind of joining of all the gangs. So that and the story is them getting back to Coney Island and bumping in to all the other gangs as they try to get back. But it was a film that, as I say, there was that, and there was The Wanderers as well, which were kind of gang movies. I don't know, perhaps at that age it was very very impressionable or whatever, but everyone seemed to want to see that film, and it was everywhere. It was on pirate videos, people were swapping it on pirate videos, and it was a very much a big movie of my youth. So that's why it's in the list.
That sounds amazing. Can't be honest with you, it sounds really, really good.
It's a great film. It's so cheesy that it's good. And again, there's tons of one-liners in it and all the rest of it, but all the gangs that they meet and the characters that are in it as well. You'll not recognise any of the actors in this movie. Maybe one guy that David Patrick Kelly, Luther is his character. James Remare, who plays Ajax, he's probably the most recognisable out of the cast. You'll certainly not recognise anybody else in this movie. They're all, they were basically unknowns up to that movie, and they've been unknowns since. But it's a good film. It's a good film. It's one of those where it's a kind of get in from the Saturday night on the piss movie and put it on and just go with it. It's a good film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds it, mate. Favourite part in the film?
There's so many fight sequences in this movie as well. It was kind of known for its fight sequences. Each gang that they meet, they have to fight, and there's one particular gang that stands out, and you'll have seen them in the game, and that's the Baseball Furies.
Yeah.
And they look really scary when they kind of they're kind of waiting for a train, and they have to get off this train. They get stranded, and as they come, they're kind of running away from the police as well. And a few of the guys get outside this train station. They're like waiting for the others. Where the fuck are these guys? Where are they? And they turn around, and the baseball furies are kind of just spaced out along this road, looking at them, and they've got the baseball uniforms on, and the faces all made up like clowns, swinging the baseball bats, not saying anything, just staring at them really menacingly. And they're like, "Fucking hell, we better take off." So they start running, and as they're running along, again, it's really atmospheric music in this movie. It's kind of cheesy 70s rock music, but it really adds to it. And as they're running, the camera kind of pans up, and you see the Furies behind them in a line, running with the baseball bats kind of tucked up into their arms as they're running, really powerful running. They look really determined. You'd be running if they were after you. You'd be fucking running. And there's a couple of characters, one guy called Cowboy, and Ajax is kind of the tough guy. He's kind of the rebel amongst them all. He's the first one that, you know, wants to be leader and take over the thing and stuff. And Cowboy's saying, "I can't make it. I'm dying. I can't make it." And Ajax says, "Fuck, good. I'm fucking running. Tired of running from these wimps." And kind of turns around and kicks the arse of 4 of them straight away. And it turns out that they're not actually that tough. They just look proper scary. They've got baseball bats. Yeah. And so there's about 10 or 12 of them, and there's about 4 of the warriors at this point, and they proper kick their ass. It's a really good scene. It's like in a park. So it's like kind of baseball bat fighting, almost like kind of samurai sword type kind of sequences where the bats are being wielded, and that's my favourite scene in the movie, where they kick the arse of the baseball furies. It looks like they're going to get themselves beat down, but they don't.
Right, now that is a film I'm going to watch for sure.
Honestly, it's really good. You'll love it. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Definitely. So, moving on then, President Ronald Reagan was a fan of the film. He even called the film's lead actor, Michael Beck, to tell him that he screened it once at Camp David and enjoyed it.
Wow.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan. The film's trucks were protected by a real gang called the Mongoloids for $500 a day.
This is before they cleaned New York City up, so I can fair imagine.
In one take, Michael Beck, Swan, swings his bat into Deborah's face. Deborah, what's her name? The actress Deborah. Right, I'll pass on that one. He swings it into Deborah's face in the scene where he throws it at a cop. She was rushed to hospital at 3 a.m. for stitches and still scar. So that's a bit of
Yeah, I think the scene is he throws it at his legs, and it kind of like it hits his shins, and you hear it connect as well actually in that. So I'm wondering if it's that scene.
It's Deborah's face. The Warriors sign painted on the bathhouse for one of the photos was painted over the real gang's tag. The real gang did not take too lightly to this, so the producers paid them to be in the film.
Wow, that would shut me up.
Yeah. The crew once got urinated upon from a tower block due to the noise they were creating at night. That's my last.
Yeah, wise. Yeah, think on, people.
Right. Okay. So that was pick number 6, Daz, which was
The Warriors.
The Warriors. Brilliant. And now the final pick. No, hold on. That was pick number 7, wasn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, we're on the final one.
The final one that you are taking to the island, and may I say it's a cork, is
First Blood.
First Blood, Rambo. First Blood. It's not Rambo.
No, it's First Blood.
First Blood. So I know why, but can you tell the viewers why you've chosen First Blood?
Because it was the very first VHS movie I ever bought, and it was an ex-rental copy as well, so it was the big box copy. I still own it. It's in a box in the loft because I've got the DVD now. But it was the very first movie I bought. Again, a movie in my youth of its time, 1982. Again, it's a lot of my nostalgia comes from that. Certainly between 1982 and 1984. So yeah, it's just a movie that I've watched all my life, really. As I say, the very first movie I ever bought to own at home.
Yeah, I remember recording it off ITV and getting up early for school. I think we had to leave our house around about sort of 7:30 to get to school for 9:15 or whatever time. And I remember getting up at 5 o'clock because it recorded the night before. Getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and watching it, and waking pretty much everybody else up in the house. So, yeah, well worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. What I really like about the story as well is he's just trying to, you know, like he says at the end, all I want is for someone to fucking eat, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, Sheriff Will fucking, you know, he's just an arsehole. He's just a dickhead of a sheriff, you know, and he just don't like the way he looks and the fact that he's got long hair and he's wearing, you know, he's patriotic. He doesn't take 1 minute. That sheriff doesn't take 1 fucking second to find out anything about John Rambo, about who he is, about where he is. He just don't like the look of him straight away because he's a big shit sheriff, you know, big hot shit sheriff and runs the town. You know, he just wants to basically shove him out of it. And John thinks, no, you can't do this to me. You know, I'm an American citizen. You can't do that to me. And so, you know, decides to walk back into the town after he's getting a lift past it, and you know, continues to wreak mayhem from that point, and rightly so. You fucking reap what you sow, and they don't half reap it in that movie.
No, don't just.
Yeah, they treat him like shit. You know,
Yeah.
it's awful what they do to him. Galt, the deputy sergeant, is awful to him. You know, the way he brutalizes him when they, you know, cleaning him up. And you see the man clean him up, and he hits him in the back with his 9-stick, and then they turn the hose on him. They treat him like an animal, worse than an animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was the whole Vietnam War thing, wasn't it? As well, it was the the war that nobody wanted and nobody wanted to be part of. And I think when the heroes in inverted commas came home,
yeah,
they were treated bad. They were treated like what were you doing over there? Where really they were just soldiers under instructions.
There's a real good monologue at the end when he's kind of saying, when he's Troutman's trying to talk him down. He's shot the fucking town up. It's all in tatters. He's it doesn't kill anybody in that movie either. I just like to point that out. No one dies with what he does. Everyone just gets it's a bit like an A-team episode.
Yeah.
The amount of rounds that he fires out of that M16, and it's not actually a dead person anywhere. But like you say, that kind of thing he does at the end. Well, I came back to the world, and people calling me baby killer and all kinds of vile crap. And who are they? Unless they've been there or been me and know what the hell they're yelling about. That kind of monologue he does at the end, where he basically just points out that he's actually fucking. Went through some serious shit. Saw his mate blown to bits. My friends all over me, that kind of thing. There's some guys that went through some horrible shit out there, and to have come back not to a hero's welcome, to being spat at and called this and that, fucking horrible. I think it's a time in American history where there needs to be a lot of shame felt. I think.
Yeah.
If I can be a little bit like that, I'm not Shem Muso, or not political, but if you'd gone out there and you fucking seen your best mates blown to bits and you came back with no legs or fucking worse, and suddenly you're being called this, that, and the other, not nice,
Yeah, you're gonna have a few things to say, aren't you?
But as for a piece of, if you kind of take away the political kind of air around that. The movie itself, again, not particularly massive amounts of money spent on it or whatever, and very simply filmed, on location, up in, just outside Pennsylvania. Great, great cinematography, great sequences, brilliant action movie, and it's up there with, the likes of Die Hard, which again could have been in this list, but I didn't want to put it in there, especially not after just been talking about it. But just one of those movies that you can, each time I watch it as well, I'll like see a little something different, or I'll, just rolls along. Not particularly a long film either. It's kind of over very quickly. But yeah, it is. The first kind of movie as well that I noticed Sly in. And I think he, although he's much maligned as being, kind of a lot of people write him off as an actor. I think there's some real good scenes in that where he's he's a proper actor.
Yeah, he definitely shows his ability. Or he might have a speech impediment and everything, but I think the expressions that he makes and the whole character development. Was that your cat?
Pay no attention to the cat.
The whole my dog's going crazy now. She's the whole sort of he gets into the character. It's a very good sort of he acts like Rambo and he acts like Rocky and he acts like stop him and might shoot, which is a turkey. Right. So
again, out of the three, I think it's obviously the franchise kind of got pumped full of steroids after that, and it just went became up to the third one where it's kind of a it's almost like a caricature of itself.
Yeah. What do you make of John Rambo, the new one?
Not seen it. Can you believe that? Not seen it.
We need to sit down and watch The Warriors and John Rambo to go. John Rambo is actually extremely good, extremely well done. Pisses over the third one naturally.
Well, obviously it needs to.
The second one's obviously set differently, but it's definitely for me First Blood, John Rambo, First Blood Part 2, and then Rambo 3. Definitely.
I'll tell you what. I'll cut you a deal. I'll watch John Rambo if you watch The Warriors.
Okay. It's a deal.
We'll compare notes.
It's a deal. Your favourite part of First Blood?
I think the bit where they've chased him. Obviously, he wants to give himself up, and the kind of Will wants his blood at that point because he's killed Gol. He's fell out. Well, Gol fucking kills himself really from being a dickhead. But he wants to give himself up, but no. So they chase him further into the forest, and he fashions the little traps and stuff, and basically takes them out one at a time. Yeah. And the bit where they're all basically Will's men are all gone, they're all strung up from trees or got big spikes through the legs, and he's like fucking hell. He thinks he's so hot shit, and John just steps up from under that bush and holds that knife against his throat, puts him against the tree, and he tells him not to push it. Don't push it. Yeah. Don't push it. I'll give you a war you won't believe. And let it go. Let it go. And then he just moves away, and he just collapses to the floor in bits because he's a fucking pussy.
He's just taking his whole team of police.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's amazing, where he got the weapons to, this crack team of police, law enforcement, these law enforcement officers, they're fucking dickheads, all of them. And John, like he says, in town you're the law, out here it's me. I'll take you down with a sharpened stick and some twigs.
Again, great soundtrack, awesome soundtrack.
Yeah, I love the track at the beginning. Again, my kind of the hairs stand up on the back of my neck when I hear that.
The Long Road.
Yeah, the Long Road, and again at the end as well. Yeah, nice kind of soft rock kind of track. Yeah.
Excellent. So a few little things. The extended production time was pushed back during filming of Rocky 3. They're filming Rocky 3 at the same time. Do you know any of the actors that were turned down for the role? Without looking down, I can see you.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Nick Nolte, Michael Douglas, John Travolta, Jeff Bridges, Robert De Niro. They were all considered, but got turned down for the role.
John Travolta. Now, having watched, a Pulp Fiction, which kind of gave birth back to his career, and again, that could have been so in this list. I wonder how John would have played that. He might have, that might have re-kickstarted his career earlier if he'd have got that. I can see him in that, actually. I can see him in that role.
He's very good in Broken Arrow, but obviously that's a different character, isn't it? But
I think he might have been able to step up to that.
We will thankfully never know. According to Sylvester Stallone, the first rough cut of the movie was 195 minutes long. That's a long old film. The large piece of rotten canvas that Rambo finds in the wood and cuts into a makeshift coat was in fact not a movie prop, but a real piece of rotten canvas found by the film crew during the film's production. Since there was only one piece, Sylvester Stallone joked about how the canvas become a treasured prop on set. After filming Aged, Stallone kept the rotten canvas and still has it in his possession to this very day.
Good for him.
Good stuff. Sylvester Stallone actually accidentally broke the nose of a stuntman during the prison escape scene by elbowing in the face.
When he kicks his legs from under him, and
This is why he's seen wearing a band-aid throughout the rest of the film.
Because it's real. Oh,
and that every time it's on TV, it's cut out. And I wonder if that's got anything to do with that.
I don't know. Is that the the noise you hear when he hits him and it goes? Well, is that the actual noise as well?
Right. I remember this very, very well, Dad. Like on the tape that I recorded or on ITV, he kicks his legs away.
Yeah.
The guy falls on the floor, and then it cuts, and all you see is this guy rolling around, clutching his face.
Yeah.
And for ages and ages afterwards, why was he rolling around holding his face? No, I never got it until I saw it on video. And it wasn't cut out. So, First Blood was Sylvester Stallone's first non-Rocky movie, which didn't bomb. In fact, it arguably saved his career.
Wow.
Kind of disagree.
Don't know about that.
No.
I mean, when you look at the list of movies, I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
It's epic, really.
So that's your 8 films, and just to recap, which film was that? The 8 pick?
That was First Blood.
First Blood, excellent. So that's your 8 films. Now you know the format. We are now moving on to 2 films that you really want to see. You should have seen by now. Never got around to, but it's 2 films that you want to see.
Yeah.
So can I have your first pick?
Again, I really struggled with this because most of the films I want to see I have seen. So this took me longer to come up with these 2, and the last one's kind of a bailout, if I'm honest with you. It took me longer to come up with these 2 than it did the 3 lists that I created and subsequently whittled it down to this one list. The first one is A Scanner Darkly, and it's simply because of the cel shaded thing. The way that film looks. It's a very stylized movie, and like I said, I've seen clips and stuff. I do like Keanu in certain films that he's done. I'm not a massive fan. I'm a massive Robert Downey Jr. fan.
Yeah.
And I know he's in the movie as well, and some other people, but never seen it. But whenever I've seen clips of it, I've always thought I need to watch that. It looks interesting. It intrigues me as to. I don't think I'm aware of another movie that's been made like that.
No, that was being filmed the same time as me and Novabug were talking about it the other day. The thing with Jessica Alba, no, Jessica Biel and Mickey Rourke. The second one's just been released.
Sin City.
Sin City is being filmed in the same location at the same time, and basically they went for they had a big sort of like party all together. All the actors from A Scanner Darkly and Sin City all got together and had a big party on location. And
wow.
But that's as far as I go. I'm like you. I know nothing about A Scanner Darkly apart from the actual visuals, the people that are in it, the actual visuals of the film and everything. So again, it's a film that's intrigued me.
Yeah, and it's simply just the style of it. That's the thing that intrigues me. As I said, I don't know the storyline. I don't know what the characters are or what their story is or what goes on in the movie. But whenever I've seen clips of it, just the style of it is enough to intrigue me to think. Obviously not enough because I've not seen it, but it's one of those I think get around to seeing that eventually. I need to see that. Yeah.
This is why I might possibly change these questions at the ends where. We were talking earlier about possibly popping in a soundtrack, just having one film that you haven't seen you really should see, and then sort of move on. However, saying that, then we had Jamie the other day who hasn't seen Back to the Future or Ghostbusters, so obviously that's two.
You're not alive if you're not.
No. It's the film I was speaking to JL76 Gaming the other day, and Jamie's 22 years old. It's a different era, isn't it? It's a different age bracket. So So I let her have that one, but she's I think
Yeah.
she's watched one of them at least. So so that's your first pick, the film that you obviously want to see, and you bring on Desert Island with you. And can I have your second one?
And it's Godzilla, the most recent one. Yeah. I think I'm not seeing it, but I think universally kind of regarded a bit of stinker. You know, but I don't know. I was lucky enough to be in New York when it was really so all the posters were up in Times Square. You know, it was all a big thing. And the clips that I've seen, everyone says that to me as well, that the trailer for the movie is so much better than the movie.
Yeah.
It really does. It's a sucker punch. You know, the trailer, it really does draw you into think. When I saw the trailer, I thought, do you know what? That may be the good Godzilla movie that we all wanted to see. Yeah. You know, I mean, I grew up watching the Japanese ones, and they are off the scale funny. You know, the big rubber Godzilla bouncing about the screen. You know, fighting. You know, Mothra and all these other. You know, Mecha Godzilla and all those movies that came out again in the 80s or the late 70s. Yeah. So, you know, I'd really like to see a really good Godzilla movie with proper effects, you know, with a really decent story and a sound cast to actually do the franchise some justice finally. And I was hoping that was it, but I don't think it is.
No, maybe keep it unseen in that case. I mean, it's actually quite good in regards to why it goes back to the roots of the whole Japanese one, where Godzilla is the savior of New York, as it quite rightly says at the end. You know, he's basically like, come and sort of save New York. It's quite trashed at the end, and it got to be said, but he sort of prevents anything else. It just didn't work for me. It just didn't. There was no character development. You didn't see Godzilla until hour and a half into the film.
Wow.
At least. And there was a nice little build-up. There's nice little moments in it. But yeah, not for me. And I'm glad it's kind of gone away from the Matthew Broderick Godzilla.
Yeah.
Because Godzilla's not a monster who like comes to New York to lay its babies and then go off. That's not what Godzilla is to like me and you.
Funnily enough, not seen that one either.
Oh really?
No.
Really? There's one thing you must do after we get offline is search for a Godzilla trailer, which is based in a museum. It's probably one of the best trailers I've ever seen of a film.
Is it a fan trailer?
Say again.
Is it a fan trailer or the trailer to an actual?
No. It was an actual promo trailer. It was done about 7 months before it went into production. It was one of those sort of like build up the hype where there's a group of school children in the museum. They're looking at T-Rex, and it was just at the same time Jurassic Park came out. And obviously, the T-Rex is the big dinosaur.
I remember this, yeah. And Godzilla like makes it look like a fucking ant.
Yeah. You hear a bit of rumbling and so on and so forth, and the kids all screaming, and the T-Rex is all moving and everything, and then basically Godzilla's foot comes and crushes the T-Rex. And the best promo I've ever seen. and unfortunately, it just didn't live up to that hype.
That's what I'm saying. Everyone said, "Don't go and see it." Because when it came out, I was like, "I'm going to go and see it." And a few lads went to see it. And they were like, "Don't go and see it. It's fucking terrible. Don't go and see it." I'm like, "Oh."
I wouldn't say it's terrible. It's watchable if it's on Channel 4 at 2 o'clock in the morning
for free. I'll watch for that then. I'll watch for that showing.
Yeah, wait for that one. So that kind of wraps it up. Have you got any sort of honourable mentions that you want to say that you have, but that maybe?
Yes, I do. I think I should speak about this because this has been a bit of a bone of contention between the pair of us since I very first met you. And again, this franchise, everyone likes the movie that was when it resonates with them. So obviously for you, it's Rocky IV, which is the worst one, it has to be said.
You animal.
No, I
You
think
animal.
that's universally recognised as Rocky 5 being the worst one. But so no, I went to the cinema to see that again. It was one of those where I queued outside the Canon Cinema in Rotherham, and the queue went round the fucking cinema 3 times, and we stood in the rain to watch it. So I did that. Was totally sucked in. You know, I did. But I have to say that I was only that invested because of Rocky 3, which what you've got to understand is, you know, at that in that year. You know, Eye of the Tiger in the charts. You know, obviously the big tune from the movie. But I just think, I don't know. For me, it's just the best story. It's kind of got everything in it. You know, it's got a bit of tragedy because kind of Mickey dies. It's got that kind of thing where I think I like it because he's actually beaten in it. You know, and he has to come back. He has to come back from being beat down. And you know, as baddies in movies go, just Clubber Lang and Mr. T's performance, it just must be one of the all-time best baddies, you know, guys in movies that you love to hate of all time. It's got the comedy in it as well. I mean, the scene in, you know, the charity event where he takes on Hulk Hogan, that's just brilliant. Just that, you know, by the end of that one, you are properly rooting for him to win. Yeah. You know, because he has come through, you know, come back from, you know, the depths kind of thing, from being up there to being right down and then being back again. But it was, like I say again, within that time when I was, you know, I was of an age where, you know, movies were really important, and it really resonated, especially, like I say, and it was everywhere. It was everywhere. It was in the charts, let's say, with Eye of the Tiger. And I know Rocky 4 had, you know, James Brown and all that kind of thing as well. But I just felt that Rocky 4 was kind of, they were really squeezing the franchise for all the blood they could get out of it. And it was a massive movie. Don't get me wrong. It was, you know, everybody went to see it. I don't know. You're going to give me the facts probably that's the highest grossing Rocky film.
It is, in fact, yes, it is, yeah.
Is it actually the highest grossing one? I thought it might be. Yeah, but you know, there's that. So Rocky 3, I want to chuck a bit of a mention. I can't talk about movies without talking about Empire Strikes Back. It's for me, it's the best one out of all of the films. Again, it's yes, you've got the signature. Yeah. Could be anybody in there though. That bloke could just be anybody. You wouldn't know.
It doesn't look like I was saw, was it?
Yeah. But yeah, just it's kind of, the only thing I've got against it is you can't watch it on its own. So I can't leave Han Solo frozen in carbonite. I've got to watch Jedi after it. I can't leave it like that. So it left you on a cliffhanger. It was kind of Star Wars plus one. You know, the space sequences seemed a little slicker and a little bit more extensive and a little bit more, you know, there's more happening in them. The chase through the asteroid belt, that's just epic. The music at that point and the visuals at that point are awesome. And introducing other characters in, and you know, and expanding on everything, expanding on the universe, expanding on the characters. You know, the kind of love story between Han and Leia and all that kind of thing growing, and obviously the deepening suspicions about Vader and Luke and that family attachment and all that was kind of, you know, it's just bigger, better, faster, more. That's the thing about Empire. And you know, Indiana Jones, you can't talk about movies without talking about the powerhouse that is Lucas and Spielberg. It's just, as Dave would say, that's a slice of fried gold. You cannot beat that. You're not going to get better than that. That movie cannot fail. Whatever it is, they can make, you know, Lucas and Spielberg could make a movie about, you know, skirting boards. And it would be awesome because it's Lucas and Spielberg. So, you know, any collaboration like that, it just can't fail. And who don't like an indie movie? You know, they're all brilliant in their own way. They've all got their own things you remember them for and all the rest of it. And whether you like, you know, the fourth one, which I really liked it, and I even, you know, the quirky alien-y thing, and I really liked it. I bought into it. I thought it was good. I thought he was believable again. Again, brilliant sequences, action, adventure. You know, what can you do? Back to the Future. that franchise, and I don't know whether it's controversial or not, but my favourite's the second one. Again, I think again, it's expanding, it's becoming bigger, it's building on what was set up, you know, and all the rest of it. Third one I quite like as well, but obviously going back to kind of its the writing and stuff, so not as much effects, although there are great effects in it. You know, the second one is kind of just full on, you know, time travel, boom, you know, it's right in the thick of it all, and all those intertwining plot lines and the different, you know, timelines that are going on and all the rest of it. I think the second one's great. I could go on, but we ain't got time. You know, you can't talk to a movie fan and ask them to come up with 8 movies, you know, out of probably hundreds of movies that they love. It's the hardest thing I've had to do in a long time, that, really. And I know, controversially, like I say, I've kind of left out, you know, a lot of movies that I feel should be in there that I can't put in there because I've only got 8.
Yeah.
So frustrating. Thanks for that.
You're more than welcome. And on that note, we better wrap it up. So, Darren, you've been a great guest. I thank you very much for coming on. Some great picks there, and I think we universally have enlightened ourselves into running off and watching a couple of films.
Thanks for having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure, and more power to you. I shall be listening avidly to see if anyone else agrees or disagrees.
Thanks very much, guys.
Enjoyed it. Cheers, Bob.
Take care.